Episode for high GC news. Mema Ubibia Aquaba Hadia latest hot Nkwa Eramini Bremo. Anuti Sonya subscribe to channel idea Bomodia say over subscribe. Gabby say over click the subscribe button. Na wabele notification. We had a video for free be upload when the first person was Ebeka a video. Afi we are na like video no give us a thumbs up na afi share my or for so that when you be here now and some do na ra ekoso ewo Ghana memoano afi tentemo imbura ye semwa abeto yepuno so mumayiti sa report ya ababetu mumayiti asemi
mamenka se ye kase ye chichiro man ya da bia me kase it will take the collective might and the collective effort of us all. Yeah. Those in power and those outside power, civil society organizations, carpenter, driver, wine, yenina, a collective effort, and ye kikambum, and ye the teacher of mine. By the discharging this collective responsibility, we need to be very candid, we need to be very honest, and we need to be very dispassionate. Okay. Now, issues ye confront here, ye fan no kre, and ye nema. Ghana Bar Association stands on this Chief Justice issue na ekoso me until recently kwana menim se san Ghana Bar Association edaso ho.
Oh, are they?
Oh yes, because in the last 8 years yahu the atrocities akoso okroma saying the assault on the foundations of our democracy in this country, individuals who have been hounded, the integrity of the very judiciary of which Ghana Bar Association has always been part, has been on the offense, downward offense has slide. Every single pool, every single thing be about a judiciary be just a time. Now we Ghana Bar Association at that moment could not find its voice. Nema na ekoso okroma various attacks in nema huna na ekoso court ruling na se be eba na nyansa nim and there. General public were rising, asking critical questions. This institution was very silent. Again, the president on several occasions, President Akufo Addo, under his time, flouted the constitution of this country to the point where Dominivo issue, court say the president action were deemed unconstitutional. Samra or yes, this uncle form so we say not on a single occasion, and I will see on my voice, say. You have numerous appointments and our Supreme Court bench. Appointment and President Akufo Addo a known partisan individuals. Among for them, Papa MPP ni uko whole central. Oko contest. It is not about whether the person qualifies or not. We are dealing with society. Civility is key. Bringing me on board, will taint the integrity of the judiciary. Ghana Bar Association could not found their voice under these horrible circumstances. Once again, here we are change of government. Now President Mahama go through processes. Man for their brother all of a sudden, then the dogs are backing once again. Oh yes, sir, nobody will take you serious. So for me, they are just backing, you understand? Just making noise for people to hear them. But as it stands now, they've lost their essence, they have no reputation, people don't respect them, people don't regard them. And into now various social media platforms, there are several people who have had their voice or found their voice on this matter. But Ghana Bar Association alone is going through a lot of ridicule, being because among for them said they are not credible. This is a political movement, not a bar association that is there to ensure say free and fair whatever rule of law. It is a political tool, a rogue one that is being used by some individuals for a particular agenda. And for me, that is what they are. It's the reason why people don't assign any seriousness to them. This is a legal institution. Or Baba culture and say, dear President Ayano, it's Yamra, and he unresigning decision. Or have rejoined a statement no what about they could not. Let's say they could not assign a single reason. It's just a President Mahamadu Bawumia, and for that matter, you say suspension or the massage no onyai. We are not talking about coffee makers, so we are talking about lawyers. Me say I know we are fundaka na camera. We are talking about lawyers. Talking law. So you should premise your argument on constitutional grounds. infraction, legal infraction, say we now so President Mahama Fumwe, the processes has been outlined. And it's in line with the constitutional provisions as outlined in the Constitution. There hasn't been a single deviation from any of the provisions. And again, Nipana are part of the process. Mo AD na omo president asene just to ensure that this process goes through. No, these are not any individuals. So we are talking about individuals. Former Chief Justice at the bench, no so. Yes, a former Supreme Court judge, and these are individuals that President Mahama cannot manipulate them. So for these people to go through the evidence that have been submitted, now I'm running into a conclusion that there is merit to this particular way, and the president can go ahead and form a committee. The president did so, and again, so the rights are president the constitutional framers, and that discretion. Emma President only he alone can exercise that discretion. And he says when the committee is set up to investigate the Chief Justice, the president may, that is a discretionary injunction that is imposed on the president or power and the president has activated it. Ghana Bar Association has no power. They have no authority to order and answer call President Mahama to resign that decision. You can only beg him because that is a discretionary power that is imposed on the president, and only he can exercise that power. So how dare you sit somewhere and say, your friend is only who to me now, suspending the Chief Justice. Then I'm asking them, if I take you back to 2020, 2021, 2020 area, how baby, Abraham Manasseh, your friend say. Anas, an investigation committee no find said there is a premier facia in the defense case now. The command President Akufo Addo. Why then did he suspend your friends judges? He suspended 4 judges and eventually sacked them. At the time, I also suspended your mono. Now, so at the time, Ghana Bar Association never find anything wrong with the move by the president at the time or exercise that discretionary power to suspend your friend is saying way for judges but today the same process is being activated that all of a sudden these people are backing like dogs as if you said they are relevant. But I'm say so person need to take you serious over 5,000 lawyers and I'm told around 52. That tells you how unserious this whole institution is. You understand? And in several more cannot be for me, because there is no single reason, there is no logic, there is no sense, and again there is no legal backing, legal basis, or any constitutional basis for any of the argument they are making. That is what I'm saying. They are just backing like dogs. Because as many people will take you serious when you premise it, President Mahama breached this constitutional provision. And for that matter, the president need to. He has done this. And these are lawyers making. But if lawyers are talking like coffee makers, just assumptions, suppositions, just throwing things, just like that, people will not take it serious. So if the president even want to go by your directive, that he has breached any of the constitution, point to him which aspect of the constitution and what breach, so that we all come here and say, president breached this constitutional provision, and for that matter, there is the need for him to bring the Chief Justice back. But if lawyers are talking like this, they are being driven by emotions, and when you are driven by emotions, you lose your senses. You talk foolishly, and for me, that is what is driving them. For way. But these are institutions that is supposed to be part of the foundational organizations. You expect to say they will be very intelligent, they will be very smart and very way. But sometimes you listen to people on TV and you wonder, we are because sometimes the way they speak, you even wonder. You understand? You've seen a couple of them on TV. Sometimes it identifies the credibility of our legal institutions in this country as to whether the kind of ethics, morality, and those kind of we are entitled to belong to whichever political party of our choice. Nobody can take that thing away from us. But when you want to engage in public discourse, be mindful that you are speaking to intelligent minds out there, not gullible fools. So assembly must be your friends are factually coherent, must be premised on something substantial. I have a manipulator. As some are bright and on again, the basis of the petition, my culture says it has no partisan inclination. For instance, police in the area make a way. This is a police officer. As some started with Takrade. You find the beach front or Takrade and our town. Now on town cry, Brunino called Netherlands, and on the girlfriend called 4G, Brunino documents. And over Thomas, I send the man, you find the police officer, and Otoye. As some local cause, some power of a town now or buying near the town, property in the man, Bruni, and the man, a police officer, and a forgery. And I will do as a police in Info as a lawyer, no, a senko due diligence. One ten or once or about Supreme Court. Supreme Court, na yes, and Bugu, Niswa, or the Chief Justice Konya Banta. I hold back and forth for my no 2 ma or the assembly course Raja and the Waka petition thereby at the president and in this particular case, which aspect of it in a President Mahamadu involved? Because a personal beef between the Chief Justice and a police officer who is a lawyer out in the Nyasem. The other petition also talk about your friends infractions are also I don't know and you been a troyo a audit service and Kasa a institution of Ghana accredited and a quiet judicial service, or more audit and who these infractions and will be a chance on these infractions and our the rules and the young sanction and several other courtroom near Akoso. So in any of these instances, but be any of it, say, Ebia NDC Libya Naso be a search and Nasa win a search until so be your son. Let us dwell on the facts being raised in this petition.
One of the petition, court, a high court, a ruling Bibi Giabo. Say you're reinstating back today. And no say ruling near the buy and
yes. That is the third petition from Sunshine, that group called Sunshine. So who read that petition? Yet we go court, cause a court on just a time, near my womb air time. So some of these near my wedding in Akahobi and over the years, the integrity of our judiciary, has been sinking, and as a country, it is our sacred responsibility and our constitutional duty as people to ensure that we sanitize this institution. That is the clarion call by a larger section of Ghanaians on the president, and that's exactly what he's doing. So what the hell is going on? If Ghana Bar Association, an institution Ghana for free say baby ananka your constitution eka krebu kuroma say nka you democracy. They never found their voices. So over sana people see you become a bunch of hypocrites. Nobody will take you serious. Over the years, when the names are the Kuroma FN Ghana Bar Association, all of a sudden people knew that when John Mahama president and they will come back and shamefully here they are once again barking like dogs. The question is all these years not Ghana democracy sinking to a point and Ghana for wanted a military rule even more than democratic rule. Where were they? Their duty is to ensure that we safeguard the foundations of our democracy. Where were they? These are legitimate questions any sensible person. You see, this emotional campaign being activated by these people, for me, is a senseless one. Nobody will take them serious. And maybe they don't know. President Mahama this time around is a different Mahama. He's not someone who will fall for some of this nonsense. He's not somebody who will fall for some of the theatrics. He's determined and focused on what he's doing. Because the mandate that has been imposed on him by Ghanaians is far bigger and larger accident. He cannot afford to fail the people of this country. So as long as the people of Ghana want institutions to be reset, he will do so. And he will not default because the very moment of a default, and for me, his focus. And for the MPP as a political party, Afenyo Markin said, oh yeah, way. Makata said, these are shameless bunch of individuals. They have lost cause. They have no credibility. There are people no serious mind will take them serious. Party na lusu. A very embarrassing faction. I expected they would just go back and then do self-introspection. The thing is that you may be dissatisfied with the turn of events. But the question is, in seminar month for the con, is it legitimate or it is not legitimate? And process here, air course when they under your turn, you follow through and you do the same thing. And because it is John Mahama today, already on Ghana, as president, leaving the powers a constitution in the man of Krano, he cannot exercise. Now, no, my catcher said. NDC time, Professor Mills appointed your friends a Mame Loretta, your friends a Lamte, as your friends a Shraj Yeah, another Dompreh, and the one Richard Newman, a petition President Mahama said, Mamma Disika. President Mahama set up a committee to say, well, yeah, almost set it up. Yeah, premier for see, I don't know the day. The president sacked the woman appointed under NDC by Professor John Eva Santamels. Went through the process. Now, even in opposition, then submitted a petition to the same John Mahama. He followed through. Now, was sacking Nipana. Now, or baby doing this no be. And the petition bar. What are you saying is that that person cannot already own or because on nipa. And again, Chief Justice na adwuma na oye no. What people should know said there should be a clear distinction being a Supreme Court judge and being Chief Justice, you know. They are two different things. Yeah. This is a judge clothed with administrative powers. So you are more than a judge. So the decisions and the choices you make, you know, our administrative impact effect. And if you do anything contrary to rules of engagement, you can be penalized for that. Yeah. But don't assume, say, you are being penalized because you are a judge. No. Administrative duty that has been given to you. Sadia na doctors in who or one teaching hospital the person is not being punished because he's a doctor. He's being punished because a doctor being given extra administrative duty. And administrative duty in the discharge of it, you know, he has defaulted. And that is why he's being punished. You understand? So what you wanna say, what would need clarity of thought? Now, if you want to do narrow thinking, if you don't want to do expanded thinking, if you want to go linear way, this is the way you think. And sometimes I feel so surprised and ashamed when I see old men with BS sitting on TV calling themselves lawyers, talking rubbish. Sometimes when they speak, they appear more confused on issues of law, even more than a coffee maker trying to understand law. That's what I'm saying, sir. Because sometimes some of these people, know. Because honesty any their part in Ghana na with me sorry time about two lawyers back on the same issue. Interpretation which here depending on baby obi agina across the political the same classroom, learn the same thing. But because of dishonesty, they will never agree on anything. And in some more kind it's not driven by nyansao, it's driven by emotions. And that is why we are not moving on. But for me, we learn law just to advance the progress of society. Yeah. But in our part of the world, you could see a lot of change. Yeah. So, oh yes, you could see a lot of change with TV. So now, so society has no impact. And so I think the president needs to remain firm, resolute, and stay on course. Because for me, as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution, as outlined in Article 146, the president as of now has never and has not breached anything. One, or say a petition will have to be submitted. The petition will have to be forwarded to Council of State. My culture said that is not a discretionary injunction, that is a constitutional injunction on the president. Council of State, they are not people we can bulldoze at them and influence them. These people sat on the petition, and according to some sources, which I doubt though, because a significant number of the people agree, say, there is merit in this petition. We cannot just discharge it, we cannot throw it away. So, Mr. President, let us form a committee. Judges. And what is your beef? Demonstration MPP for Kwaku, to what end? For what? So this emotional campaign, and I say, Ghana for a very mature individual. So you see, you can do all these things. And I'm a catcher IGP says, Obi a demonstration with Chroma, he should never stop anybody. He should allow anybody who wants, because that is their constitutional way. But Ghana for are smart now. They can discern between propaganda and your friends say what is actually the fact, because so demonstration because processes has been activated to remove Chief Justice. Who basis in the saying, and then a Chief Justice and I am a writer, or be a wrong. And now why they are wrong will be that should be the basis of being demonstration. These are a major part of our politicking in this country has always been premised on emotions. Because we know we are dealing with a bunch of emotional, unintelligent people. When we shout, they will come out and follow us. But through these platforms here, these advocacies, young people are becoming largely and increasingly enlightened. And they are getting to understand politics. You cannot be calling people out for a foolish cause. Trust me. People might want to know why we want to do this, why we did this, why we want to do this. And at the end of the day, if you are unable to provide reasonable and legitimate basis for your actions, trust me, nobody will take you serious. That is why I've been telling you that a time is coming. There are many people who have, over the years, been deemed relevant on the political stage. Yes, because the people were emotional. So Ghana for the there are a lot of people on original political platform. They will fade away like a morning dew because they have no relevance. They are there because the people were not smart. The people were not intelligent. So they couldn't figure out that we were dealing with a bunch of idiots. But when people become smart and very intelligent, they will know them for who they are. And for me, these people to take the bull by the horn and make sure that my culture say this Ghanaian dream is possible, but nobody can make it apart from ourselves. We need to be active participant and lead a charge because you see future leaders leading this conversation. How can we sit here and allow grown men who will be living tomorrow to make that decision for us? We need to be active participant and shape the future we want, a future of our own design, a future of our own creation, so that when we get there, we know say this is what we created for ourselves. And fortunately for us, there are vast majority of young people locked with talent in us. How do we do all these things to ensure that the politics will benefit people? But always, this senseless emotional politics, young farm for na media and also instead of them to just look at the issues and address them, because say people focus on bad demonstration on better platforms. I will ask them, what are your bases? If the person is not able to provide any sensible reason, you sack the person from your platform. Because apart from that, anything they are doing is an emotional campaign. And politics has no space for emotions. Emotions is a result for obia, or you're depressed, and somebody who is unreasonable. Sure. But at the intellectual table, there is no room for emotions. Oh yes, you do away with emotions, zero emotion, you deal with fact, evidence, and then as a forum. But we've given prominence, oxygen of publicity to some of these individuals, and quote unquote, they think they are very relevant and sensible. This guy, Tafo MP, yes, he's all over the place. And I'm the there is no single reason but because the media will carry, give him that coverage. Oh, what they call court? Go to court based on what? President because is the president barred from exercising provisions as outlined in the Constitution? The president has that sole power and the discretion to exercise those powers. And the media will there is absolutely nothing. So I think Charlotte said there's a court. Yes. Emma Godfrey Damiko echo defend say as no crown could me I could them 5 years who is saying the president to crow when the mobile was second. Yes, because with him. Constitution, and I'm the nature of our constitution now. Here, practice an executive presidency, where the president is clothed with enormous power. That power are very overriding to the stance until the constitution be put a full stop there. Nothing can stop the president. And in this regard, the constitutional provision, explicitly, where any implicit interpretation, explicitly on the face of it, when you read. It makes sense. The clarity is there. You know that these are the roles that has been assigned to the president. And these are some of the things. You see, some of the constitutional provisions are such that when they appear a bit vague, we can invent procedures and instruments to streamline it. But it doesn't mean say you can forgo what the Constitution has actually written. So, President say, Constitution say obi the petition against this person. These are the line the president will have to walk. John Mahama from day one has been walking through the same way. Ghana Bar Association, if you have any concern, premise it on something reasonable, something sensible that will call people. Oh, Adia Papa Noyan and speaking against. But as it stands now, there is no single sensible justification for what they are doing. So for me, these people are just barking dogs. Nobody should take them serious. Among themselves, oh yes, there are lawyers in this country who don't regard the Ghana Bar Association. They don't respect them. They are own people. It's a reason I'm calling meeting now. your friend saying an association of about 5,000 members, about nipa 52. Exactly, it tells you among Kasakra they don't even regard the institution. So it's a lesson. I'm sending a message to lawyers in this country. You see, ebia no munim. Dodo na elusu omo grounds. You can go to court.
Chief Justice Obromra Swana, is he above the law?
No, sir. When Makacha said Chroma said, only said Chroma no say issue bar. Now, kwanya petition no fast or eliki you know. Chief Justice enimu. Kwanya all trone letter eda kwakoma President Mahama say on man a copy eliki you know. He na onimu because you need to fight you know. If you go to the constitutional line we can win. So let us activate a bit of emotions. Oh, the Mahama banana why na Jane say when you sway the conversation to that particular line, you gather more muscles in terms of politics to be able to fight. But if you are going strictly by the constitutional provision, you know, you won't have enough. It's the reason why MPP has become a backing dog. A dog that is providing the vocal way for them and shouting all over. What are your bases? What are your reasons? There is absolutely nothing sensible that they can offer to justify why they are doing what they are doing. So for me, I think some of us are very focused. I will never sit here and support anything unconstitutional that is being done by the president. Or from Mra, we will go after him, we will criticize him. But as it stands now, nobody. Ghana Bar Association, this is a legal institution. They could not even one. MPP, as of now, has not been able to. All that they are saying is, John Mahama can say Oba, Obesaki Chief Justice, and Omoye. The fact is that majority of Ghanaians in this country are very worried about the reputation of our judiciary. We can't live in a country where majority of the people feel dissatisfied the way a man a judiciary operating. A time will come they will not go to court. And for me, that is something very dangerous that we need to kill. Investors are coming. If investors are back say, oh, the judiciary is very corrupt institution, you think they will bring their monies? Do you think they will bring their monies? They will not. You see that dollar is become a bit stable. Do you know why? I want to say that because investor confidence is a bit strengthened. So Obia or any business can say, okay, let me bring my investment here. That is why there is more dollars coming at Emma stabilizing. So if we don't do things to sustain the confidence of winner, we lose our clout. And for me, we need to disregard these people. Ghana Bar Association has demonstrated time and time, say, for them, they have no reputation. They are very dishonest class of individuals. Nobody should take them serious. And for me, that is what it is. Justice Assembly, I can't.
Yeah.
You see, I take a certain twist. And Rabbi who are brandy and from Kakranka, also by demonstration, and you.
Nanabi.
It's on your friend.
Nanabi.
You could see clearly, sir. The issues are or must sway the conversation, and people are pursuing a certain political agenda. Yamakacha say Yakotoaba, not Ghana for concern about our judiciary. That there is the need for us to prune it. Because one institution are aimed to mean failure. A failure in a will go down. Yes. So the Akosono is not something I would say politically motivated. And the Akosono beginning nearby, and I was John Mahama na sha see na why na just so Chief Justice and then Yamiadom petitioners no be anymore.
Additional to crowd
first petitioner, a police officer,
5.
And yet a police officer no, he's a lawyer or greater crowd way ACP or the same court. And the idea some year bogun so. And na wajatum no te ho. Mami babatena kan kire say omumu nipa. They virtually look down on almost everybody. And you know, nipa na wadi na sema we webu for no. Then according to the gentleman, who can your friend saying Mosara mu nipa nwene na ho senior lawyer abetena wo nimhwe, that kind of remark. And I'm a minute court and all can mo bi atena all good police in any mass e court.
Now her titles they know there.
And what would that attitude no chim na no ko heba bi ase we aso ko school was ro. Police no ya a lawyer. Ah wadi na sem wadi ne for. Fine waje atom. then off record comments and who as a disparaging comment who go and then the police officer can say I disagree with you. My man say police boy monchino and the police officer was detained. Oh yes, that is what happened in the petition. And you know, assembly has nothing to do with the NDC. A personal way DOB.
Okay.
Yes. And then the Pakramba.
Yes.
Say your friend said say no me. Police no I'm a lawyer. And my catch that your friend Adibi, your friend say sir, your friend say a latest arrogance bina me kwa na mako school they look down when you nipa that kind of attitude no. And abra Mahama conference we are so bold dia on team na no style we na man for free say no. That is that because the gentleman in the petition described it, say that was the same thing, the posture. Oh, go and read the petition. That kind of way. Now say any person or disagree with you, immediately now arrest him. And the police arrested the police officer and he was detained. That is what happened. So it has nothing to do with so BNDC and so the other people, no, and so there has to do with the Sika.
Yes.
Would you plane ticket? Chief Justice Baba, you are for 1 billion. Eddie plane ticket to America. Yeah, or my Sika. Emma, 1 billion. Oh, how many young ladies in this country? And even 1,000
cities.
But states need to 1 billion. Emma, the plane ticket alone, or Kwana, you piano. Your friend is saying, per diem, $10,000. You see the argument, and they say, or you're entitled to, you see, yes, oh, to quote to me, but we are talking about a private travel, and the arrangement is that, oh, who as a person, and I'm saying, we Chief Justice, you know, we will pay, don't worry. But state, you know, you're interested, and if a police in security do what you say, yes, I will be idea kotoa. The state will have to suffer for that.
Sure.
Honor Nimyansa. Security franchise meba bra. So the entitlement of the security officer nobody you know rather comes to the daughter.
How?
Any greed. Police you know you be kuro you be hero odi wachikwa anya hwenko no so no ne nsabaka sa niam no because there is a reason why the state made it possible say oh kwa the private way no for security do what you say oh you security no tena ncha na ode ne baba sha no twa plane ticket 1/1 way man no ena okotua per diem ya ansi ba ko pe another trip okọ ena ode ne kunu
DHS security na nine.
Security na nine and ordinary call, wow, we remember one for member. These are petitioner, Ako, and otherwise no has to do with Nema Akoso speaker issue, no whole back on crowd accusations of the man, Chief Justice, I am Marco 21. Come in here, can go through Nina 21 accusations, and also Sadiguma, Meneso, as Oba, na obey no one. Now, dear member can at was I was we are the politics Council of State. I'll go through all these accusations and I'm coming to conclusion say no, asem no nyensem hunu yentimi montungu. And Council of State I come as ebia na manfo nim the composition. One of the immediate past Chief Justice. So for Akufo Addo. When him Akoto ban for dissenting those times, you know. She's a retired Supreme Court Justice. Oti bench no so oti Council of State no bi. And a mami we NDC ni Betty Bodidrusu or former Attorney General. Yes. Oje ahoho sa o ne be no so obi ani ba bi ofri ba. Omo nyina keka ho bi. So when it comes to Emra, former Chief Justice also former Supreme Court judge. So these are issues I won't mean to say petty keke na. I'm not sure that John Mahama can even pick a phone and call for Akufo say I don't know any merit, money merit. The president cannot do that. He cannot call Akoto Bamfo and tell her say yes, it means that seven or more cannot credence wom. So by saying a political party jita nani and John Mahama bae nipo mo luso mo jima high profile individuals bebre. Why is MPP not speaking for those individuals? Na mum we no mo kasama no. Enra tamale say ya fan say CEO no that tamale teaching hospital no. See you know di. I don't think that you on your press conference. Yeah. So you see that kind of attitude, you know. I say I don't know omo nkwa na betimi aye obi kwaya I wouldn't mean Santi Nisa one away because petition I can't say me. Are you aware, say, Shraj boss? Your first president Mills and appointed no. MPP political and not Dompreh or Richard Niama or more petitioners or more MPP for throw petition the command John Mahama say my mena or your Shraj boss no what disika Shraj boss in the status at say justices of the High Court as a forum or throw petition the command say my mena disika John Mahama J petition no go through set up committee mo go through at the end President Mahama remove
Shrad boss. I remember that.
The Shrad boss was appointed under NDC, but Enam said they're not air cost no equity and intino. President Mahama removed the Shrad boss. The same MPP or no Nimuni pass and the petition that command John Mahama will follow through the constitution. And if he's following through the constitution, what is your business? And again, suspension of judges. This is not the first time. And now straw petition the command President Mahama says some judges be a jump on Chen and Coco. Asabno President Akufo Addo. And some no course na amoye find this who say merit wom no munye ni assembly we President Akufo Addo suspended these 4 judges including Justice Gertrude Torkonoo. And son of final ruling neighbor abonten and son of opama one. So you see, these are powers are clothed our president war. And Akufo Addo can do the same thing. Why can't John Mahama do the same thing?
Because your mama.
Because John Mahama. You see that kind of way, no, looking down upon people say, oh, we didn't mean the way. Because Mekasa say, we are the people winning Yansa and can this petition, you know. And go no more kind of Bekasa baby. And come back civil society organization be a cheer. Say, I'm Bekasa amount. Nema Ekosi, one who any credible civil society organization will all come my Chief Justice. What is that India? So here, I think that the president must remain focused. Ghana for say your Supreme Court and there is a problem. Individuals are on one their personal dealing or more de near diomo. Policy no kind of petition in some woman. Yeah, over about hope. Nipa no swing their code police ACP at the court. Dear some we nipa in our media on the Nimase. Now, I react to say, I disagree with you. What's the police for channel?
Now, I disagree with you. Yes. Other way, why I will bring last one. I mean,
yes. Sabemana, or any son, they won't fetch any crew in Yancy.
Yeah, to be a police officer. What they go through. Exactly. Law, no? You can't just look down upon that person. And that is the attitude. With the Anna catchers, you see, these people are living in the past. In those 1990, we are Kokotina, me and the generation where I don't know my catcher. Yeah, but say Pontius Pilate, no, most that dear Chem Kunta, and a crab by and then I wouldn't say Muna, Nipa can be actually. Sir, my lord, no, I'm for respect you based on what you do, not because you're Chief Justice. Sure. Now, Akufo Addo no your president, the crown, now I'm for come out drinking. How many yes, now as a president, the crown, I'm for come out drinking. How much more Chief Justice because I disagree with that? Was that Monchero? Now, that's Yachina could detain Yachina detain Namana. Sunday, my way in Anna, yes.
After the ruling.
Yes.
After the ruling. Yes. Don't like doesn't even make sense.
Yes. What did
did you ever think to appoint any very serious brain?
Yes. Because
considering his posture.
Because as a Chief Justice, you know. Reasonable. So you have to be very reasonable, very accommodative, that kind of stuff. Obia can some that kind of way. The bottom line is the judgment has been passed already. Where lies this comment? And in her response, you know, she couldn't refute that particular. I read the response. The response, she could not refute saying some now can decisions are on Fanum Kotumno, and yeah, one judge, your friends a decision. Now I represented the view of your friends all other way. It's the judges now in United with Tibo. I disagree in your funny too. And as I just no cry, I was some question. Fanum Kotum, and a 7 branch no cano, and yet enough, and any basis a bit me active. 146, and that is for the offense the committee to decide. That's the reason why people are saying the response no crime for my assembly more serious. Yes, because you admitted to all the allegations. What you say about papa? Na some to any pack Judge ya ote your friends committee enemy Panamai has been at the Supreme Court. Yes, in China any part go and check the records. Panel in baby because they tag him with certain wins until recently as a near society now I know most rotting in the back be about him. See, between the two no. And now quarter junior and him. I will be to us and why what your friend is saying, Oba, Becca, we did not corner, not police officer. Now, Obia, we beggar. I'm not to, and I'm a catcher, so we will be or you will sign a crack. The committee, you know, be comfortable. To have at least to have all that embarrassment and another one. And not nipple back home, we did know I don't believe. Yeah, then we also can win all kind of money. Chief Justice, Omotna case in this man Dominibo, I call retirement and son a year dinner and then Okotran and Nimam to us and Nabasa. So Obabra Papa near the wedding. So for me, I think that Niamana Ekosono, there is no political offense under to be a woman unless Obiwa or the Baba. We are talking about evidence. Because police in the personal experience and other trying to petition. The other group near Shining Star, also no experience or Munya and Niamo Manya and other person, no other Nerofol, no. Or also outline 21 cases against Chief. On the Indian Urama airtime. Jachi question issue no. Yet we ma order near Bawura court computers CBI or other from above. And never cause Okrom how me say nyanda I didn't go through the petition. You will be shocked. And a petition about one thing so one of yeah.
Also respond
because Paul I don't watch in the me who the petition no. Because Abra President Mahama or cho letter their command akwa j say on money bino that letter no got leak. Petition in Sakai and anybody wants that Paul I don't watch the other TV so so fight it's not that response you use political anger and fight but some of these things fact because I see a different John Mahama very firm, resolute and ready to do the right thing. I'm sure say he should go ahead because that is the reason why Ghanaians voted for him because Ghanaians will not admit failure, they will not admit weakness. The focus on this say this thing goes beyond the Chief Justice. It's not about the Chief Justice. It's about the sanctity of the institution called judiciary. We cannot be having criminals living, individuals who think that they are all powerful. Than sad notion, do not work today because the youth of today, everything you do. That is why I make yourself soft no preach say boys no far for social media. And now for nyama what I want never trim. Before they on the call so we need to do things right.
Okay. All right, Richard.
Yo, if for winning and someone about better, you so because so we can subscribe to channel idea, but more than say over subscribe. Now, while like video, give us a thumbs up, now fee share my waffle frost. So now when you be here now and somewhere also, Ghana memoir. Also bit me otchere wondering a fire and some way in a comment box in my next video.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.